Mr. Steve Bronigan. How you doing, Steve?
Very fine. Thanks, Bonnie.
All right. Well, Steve can't be with us for the whole hour, so we're going to ask him to make a few comments about what he thinks is important about WORT, about his time here at WORT, and any other pertinent information he has to share with us.
Thanks. It really is a pleasure to be here, and of course, being here with two of WORT's oldies, I suppose, three of WORT's oldies, and I've been a listener of Bonnie, I think, pretty much ever since she came on the air. But my stay at WORT was actually twofold. One was with the news department. The other one was the jazz show that I had on Wednesday nights, Strictly Jazz, for those listeners out there who every once in a while still recognize my voice, which is still fascinating. But I think my stay here as the news director was very rewarding. We did some fantastic news. This was an interesting time here at WORT and in our nation. This was a time when Ollie North was doing his gun running down in Central America, and the United States was deciding that they wanted to participate in kicking butt in El Salvador and Nicaragua. And WORT, during my tenure here, spent a great deal of time, thanks to some of our now former volunteers, one of them, Chibu Lagman, and I know Bonnie remembers Chibu, and we had a number of people, Peter Lipton, Chris Thompson, who is now out in the state of Oregon, who is now one of our nation's premier sci-fi writers. But we did some fantastic work working the news out of Fedabuni Mati, out of Nicaragua, and bringing you some of the greatest and latest breaking news out of that area. But I think what I wanted to do today, if it so pleases the group here, is to bring you up to date on a very critical issue, news-related, as it is here in Dane County. As you heard Bonnie indicate earlier, I am Dane County Board Supervisor representing District 19. And we just finished our budget debate, and perhaps a better way to put it is budget debacle, as I call the county board now. At times we look like a three-ring circus. Well, the latest situation, I think, speaks very well and very poorly of that, as our county board chairman, Michael Blaska, had violated his own rules and decided that he was going to hold the budget process in a way that he differently stated at the beginning of the process. The situation I wanted to share with you today, which is actually rather late breaking, is this: that at our last county board meeting, when we finished the budget, at the beginning of that meeting, Supervisor David Wiganowski had indicated that he would offer $500 as a reward to the arrest and conviction of an individual who allegedly put what he's calling a threatening note on the windshield of Chairman Blaska's vehicle. And he made a charge that he felt that it was likely those on the progressive side of the aisle. Chairman Blaska made the same comment to one of our local newspaper reporters, and also indicated that he was going to take the note and compare it to the handwriting of one of us on the progressive side of the aisle. We found out today, and it's in the Cap Times this afternoon, that Alderman Steve Holtzman had written a letter to Chairman Blaska indicating that it was him who left the note on the car, and that no threat was implied nor intended. And he further indicated that the grave, quote-unquote, I was referring to in my note was a metaphorical reference to one's political career after you so blatantly excluded the public from budget proceedings of an elected body. And it was simply the opinion of a Dane County taxpayer, a constituent you seemed so intent on excluding from your, well, he slashed it out, our budget deliberations. And he apologized for that. The situation, I think, speaks so poorly of the lack of leadership of Chairman Blaska is the fact that, in my opinion, he has taken, I think, the lowest road ever possible by making charges that those of us on the progressive side of the aisle could actually have written such a note and put it on his windshield, and to conduct the investigation himself when he really should have turned that over to the Sheriff's Department. This, I think, speaks very poorly of the chairman. And I most certainly support Supervisor Pocan's call for his resignation, for him to step down as chair of the board. We are now at a crossroads, I think, and we have left, I think, probably one of the worst trailings of our budget debate that people who have sat on the board, such as Supervisor Leidner, who is retiring now after 30 years on the board, it's the worst budget process she has ever seen and is now capped by this outrageous behavior and his outrageous claims that one of us would stoop so low as to do that. And I am very sorry that this has happened, but I most certainly hope that Chairman Blaska will apologize to us and apologize to the people of Dane County. Well, that's just some of the news that's going on.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Steve. We're very glad to have had you here, and very happy that we have this wonderful medium, WORT, to provide a voice for progressives and others not really heard a lot over the airwaves.
Indeed, and that's right, Bonnie, and I think that's probably the best thing about WORT. I think it's the thing that many of us have taken a lot of pride in is this alternate voice. WORT 89.9 FM is known nationwide for its progressive news, and as this wonderful listener-sponsored radio station should remain on the air for at least the next 20, and let's keep it up.
That's great. Great. Thank you so much, Steve, for stopping in.
My pleasure.
We're very happy and proud to have had you as a member of the WORT staff.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we're going to get rolling with the retrospective. Danielle?
I think I'm going to take this one.
All right, David. Okay. David.
But before I start, the telephone lines are always open at 256-2001 while we're doing this retrospective. Please call up and give a pledge. It's December 1st, 1975. You are part of a close-knit group who have been working for almost 2 years to put a community station on the air.
Knowing how difficult and long it was, you'd assume that every second of this first night would be crafted like a Swiss watch, as glitch-free as possible, flawless. You would also be raw.
Look out. Look out. Look out.
And the ship rolls down the dry dock. Oh my God, it's sinking.
Oh, isn't that nice? We are bringing a new baby into birth at this point.
Gurgle, gurgle, birth.
Well, you know, this is the best way to celebrate birth.
Not bad, not bad.
We've worked very hard to bring this baby into the world, and we deserve it, darn it.
Naturally.
Yes. This is WORT FM in Madison for the very first time ever.
Talk about being in labor.
Boy.
Play some music.
Play some music.
Hey, man, we don't want to hear all this time talk.
All right. Well, why don't we play John Olicker's demo tape?
Well, that was a snippet of our first night. We are now at 89.9 megahertz on the radio dial. The first host of the Universal Soul Explosion, Ann B. Richardson. We're going to have to talk while we get that tape prepared here. You can always call us at 256-2001 and give us another pledge. WORT was born in poverty and continues to live in poverty, hand to mouth.
And we can't do it without you. We need you to stay on the air. So did they ever play John Olicker's demo tape?
Yes, I think they did find it, but I don't actually clearly recall that.
I think he played it at the annual meeting. It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of strange sounds. Here we go with Ann B. Richardson and the very first Universal Soul Explosion.
I'm ready. You are listening to radio station WORT Madison, 89.9 FM, and be sitting on your back porch rapping in your eardrums. Hi there. Well, I've been asked to come here today to tell you about my first day with WORT and how I found out about WORT. Well, it goes back to 1975. I was out shopping for some records. So I picked up this flyer and stuck it all in my little record bag and took it home, and I took the records out that I had bought. Right now I can't even remember what records they were, but they were happening because Lake Street had everything at that time. But anyway, I took the records home, put them on, and then I started looking through the bags. And one of the flyers had, "Want to be on radio." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I want to be on radio." So they gave you this number to call, and I called the number. And I think it was Jerry Zeiger that answered the phone. And I said, "Jerry, my name is Ann, and I want to be on radio. And he says, good, what do you want to do? Well, at that time, they were calling it soul. So I said, I want to do some soul music. He says, good, because we don't have anybody here that does soul. I said, great. I said, well, you don't have to worry about anything. He said, because I've got all the music, and I'll be ready to go. When do I start? So he says, well, come on down to the station, and we'll train you how to work the boards and everything, and then you'll be on. So I said, just like that? He goes, yeah, just like that. Personally, I didn't tell anybody, but I didn't know what I could do behind the microphone and the boards because I'd never done radio before in my whole life. The closest I ever came to doing radio was being a DJ at the CYO dance after the CYO meetings was over in high school. So I started playing these music and saying a few words here and there, and they said, okay, good, you're set to go on December 3rd. December 3rd was a Wednesday, which was okay, and I was set to start at 8 o'clock in the afternoon. Call it better yet, evening. So that Wednesday, I got down to the station. I had bats in my stomach, forget the butterflies and all that. I mean, they were bats. And I was so nervous, I mean, like I was shaking. I sat down in the chair, and Mike and Jerry and the guys, they were in the studio, you know, kind of like giving me like moral support. And I went on the air, and the music started. And I dreaded the first moment when I had to say, hi, this is Ann B. Welcome to Universal Soul Explosion. I played maybe about 5 songs. And on the 6th song, I was still playing my little heart out. And, what is his name? I can't remember the guy's name that took care of transmitters and all that sort of. Pat Ryan. Anyway, Pat came into the studio and says, we're off the air. I looked up at him and he goes, what? I mean, like, why are we off the air? And he goes, like, the transmitter blew? I go, oh, boy. And by that time, we were off the air. Well, like, I was really into it then. But it was quite an experience for me. How I got the name for the show, it was like a matter of 3 choices. Like, what did I want to, say about the show? What I want to. Well, I knew it was soul music, and I wished that at the time I was kind of like wishing it could have been heard like all over the United States and Ohio and Mexico and all over the universe. That's another word, universe. Universal soul and explosion. It's just like there's so much music out there that people aren't hearing, and if they could just hear it, they would just like, explode. So I put these different choices in a hat, and I took it to the house, and I had a couple of my nephews and nieces pick some names out of the hat, and they picked out Universal Soul Explosion. So that's how it got its name. My name is Ann, and my middle initial is B. And in case you don't know it, I'm still not going to tell you what it stands for. But the last name is Richardson, so I am Ann B. Richardson.
Yeah, and we really miss her, too. But a whole bunch of there's a new crew doing Universal Soul Explosion every Saturday night at 10 o'clock, and it still sounds really great. If anybody would like to, who remembers the early years of WORT and would like to call in your reminiscences, just feel free to do so, 256-2001. And you might want to make a pledge at the same time. Well, 3 people who have been here the whole time. There's Ricardo, me, Bonnie, and who am I forgetting? Oh, yes, Rocking John McDonald. He did classical.
Well, that one is going out to Dave Weber. That was Anthony Newman on the great Aeolian Skinner organ of St. John the Divine's Cathedral in New York. That was a Richard Wagner piece, and it's called Ride of the Valkyrie from Die Valkyra. And that's for Dave Weber. Next up, a cut by an Aaron Copland cut, and he's one of the foremost American composers. Aaron Copland was born in 1900, and he's still active, composing and conducting. In 1942, he composed the Fanfare for the Common Man, which was used 4 years later in his 3rd Symphony, which John Lindquist will play on the Opus 89.7 show next Saturday. We'll hear the Fanfare for the Common Man now. It was performed by the Philadelphia Orchestra, conducted by Eugene Ormandy.
It's wonderful. John has a trademark sound, and you can always identify him, and it's wonderful to hear him doing classical.
And he did sit in for John Lindquist doing a classical show one time, and I'd never heard it, and there it is.
We also have a wonderful library of Platinum Minutes. Let's see if we can dig into the pile and grab one right now.
Hi, this is James Rim. Back in 1981 to 1983, I did a number of shows on WORT. St. Monday's Music, which was a classical music program from 9 to 12 on Mondays, and I was one of the charter hosts of the noontime call-in talk show of Public Affair. Now I'm still a local writer and arts critic, and I'm the editor of a publication called the National Teaching and Learning Forum on college teaching. I offer my congratulations to WORT on surviving 20 years, and my wish for its future, like my hopes and efforts for its past, was that it be a lifeboat in the sea of media in which we're all drowning.
Thank you very much. We are in the time of a mini-thon, but we have some interesting tape here. As marathon pledge raps go, it's awfully hard to top this one.
WORT, in conjunction with Celestial Express Tours, wants you to know how you can take a trip to heaven, fabulous heaven, while supporting community radio down here on Earth. Yes, heaven, once open only to good and kind people, is being made available for a limited time only to all WORT subscribers. True believers and cynics alike can frolic in this delightful setting by contributing some money to WORT. Sounds great, doesn't it? Yes, we'll beam you up to lovely heaven, where you'll check your worldly possessions with the WORT staff angels, who'll guide you through the famous pearly gates, where you'll meet St. Peter himself, who will, as part of a special package for WORT subscribers, show you how to make heavenly sounds on the harp in 5 minutes using 2 pencils. That's right, everyone. No need to fuss with outdated concepts of good and evil. Sin and blaspheme when you want, as much as you want. Carry on just as you see fit. You can still laugh and sing in heaven just for making a donation to WORT. Who could resist that temptation? But nearly as exciting, you'll meet God himself. Yes, the Holy of Holies, Almighty King of Hosts, has promised all WORT subscribers that he'll be making a special appearance at our campsite. So bring some extra film for your camera. Now here's how you can get into heaven. Just call 249-0111 and pledge lots of money to WORT. Hurry, act now. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime chance to help your community radio station and go to exciting heaven. Remember, you can't take it with you. That number again, 249-0111. Buddhists, ask about our special karma coupon. Offer void where prohibited.
Lord have mercy, who is that? Well, we have a pleasure to thank Mitchell Perrick. We want to thank him very much. He just walked right into WORT and made a donation. Thank you very much. And another one of many people who are listener sponsors of WORT and keep this little station on the air. And also today we want to thank very much Fraboni's for donating lunch to the WORT volunteers and staff. So a big thanks to Fraboni's, and next time you go there, tell them that you heard it on WORT. And that number, 249-0111, that was our old number, 256-2001 is the number to call. Danielle?
Well, I just want to announce that the next tape that's coming up, James Rem, who we heard earlier, and guest Maureen McCosey put together a special show for Valentine's Day. Here it comes.
Well, we sort of defiled Tchaikovsky there, but nothing can stand in the way of
It won't be the first time, I'm sure.
musical dramas of this nature. Well, you are listening to Cool It, Michaela. Did WORT, Madison, Wisconsin, St. Mundy's Music first annual Valentine's Extravaganza.
And we would go in the front door. The porter would take off his cap, and I would stop at the concierge's desk and ask for the key. She would stand by the elevator, and then we would get in the elevator, and it would go up very slowly, clicking at all the floors. And then our floor. The boy would open the door and stand there. She would step out, and I would step out, and we would walk down the hall, and I would put the key in the door and open it and go in, and then take them to the telephone and ask them to set a bottle of Capri Bianca in a silver bucket full of ice. And you would hear the ice against the pail coming down the corridor. And the boy would knock, and I would say, "Leave it outside the door, please." Because we would not wear any clothes, because it was so hot, and the window open and the swallows flying over the roofs of the houses. And when it was dark afterward, and you went to the window, very small bats hunting over the houses and close down over the trees, and we would drink the Capri, and the door locked, and it hot, and only a sheet, and the whole night, and we would both love each other all night in the hot night in Milan. And that was how it ought to be.
Can you remember your first kiss?
Yeah, yes I can. I was 5 years old in Watertown, Wisconsin. That's about all I can remember about it. That's a long way back in my life. It's hard to go back that far.
You remember your first kiss?
Yes.
When was that?
12 years old.
Do you remember it?
Not really.
How old were you?
25.
25? That was the first time? How'd it work out?
It's working out. It was great. 14 years old.
Oh, I suppose I was in grade school somewhere.
I was 16, and that wasn't puppy love. I had that before. This I thought was the real thing. I didn't want to stop. I said, "Can we try that again?"
Or one from the St. Bernard as it grabbed my head.
Sure, I remember it. Yeah, sure. It was great. It stuck to his lips right up his face.
It's fine with me.
Do you remember your first love, your first romance?
Yes, I do, very much.
Tell us about it.
I was probably in about 8th grade, and she was beautiful. And she was older than me, an older woman.
How much older?
About 2 years.
Ooh, gosh.
About 2 years. And it was great until she met someone else who was older than her, so.
Can you tell us about your first kiss?
It's against my religion to go with women, you know.
What religion are you?
I'm Buddhist. Buddhist.
Funny, you don't look Buddhist.
I might love you if you stay longer here.
Well, it's been nice talking to you.
Some pretty creative moments here at WORT. This is Bonnie Kalmbach, and as one of WORT's longest-running on-air personalities, I guess. And with me today in the studio are Danielle and David Devereaux Weber, two of the WORT founders. And we're just listening to some old tapes and reminiscing about the history and all the different wild and crazy and very creative broadcasts that you've been hearing over the last 20 years. And if you can remember anything you'd like to share, some of your reminiscences, give us a call at 256-2001. I guess we've got another Platinum Minute coming up, do we? Brad is shaking his head yes.
Hello, Wortniks, Wortophiles, Wortphobes, and Wort fans. This is yet another voice from out of the past, out of the class of 75, 76, 77, and half of 78. Richard Mahler talking to you from my home studio high atop a desert mesa somewhere south of Santa Fe, New Mexico. As Jerry Garcia and Jerry Zeiger used to say, what a long, strange trip it's been. I went from Back Porch Wort to Pacifica's KPFK and NPR's Morning Edition, and here I am back again on 89.9. Everything I've ever needed in radio, I learned in an overheated storefront on Winnebago Street. So, feliz cumpleaños, compadres, and keep it coming for another 20 years. We need you now more than ever.
Dramatic.
Right. And maybe I didn't mention, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary of our very first broadcast today here at WORT, originally 89.7 FM and now 89.9 FM. And we want to thank, before we go any further, George Quinn, a volunteer who has compiled all of these tapes from the WORT archives.
Thanks, George.
Thank you very much, George. I hope you can hear this. Maybe he's listening to a tape, or he may be at work by now. But as long as it's been on the air, a public affair, this program has always been a very serious, issues-oriented show.
Hey, it's a public affair here on WORT, and we have an hour of comedy, amusements, game shows, commercials, fun, excitement, and much, much more with a cast of thousands, so stay tuned, turn up the volume.
A Valentine poem. To my darling Valentine, I'm so glad that you are mine, with your silky auburn hair and your chocolate eyes so fair. When we first met, you looked a million, standing in the stock pavilion, with your dainty little tail, brushing flies against the rail. Though you weighed near half a ton, something said you were the one. That night, beneath a barnyard roof, we slept together, hand in hoof. Now you mean much more than butter, every time I touch your ivory udder. Our parents say our love is wrong, but bovine urgings keep me strong. Still, I think we've drawn their ire. They're sending you to Oscar Mayer to boil your sweet flanks into stew and change your lovely bones to glue and grind your breasts in little pieces and stretch your skin into valises. Still, one day I know it's fate. We'll meet again upon a plate, and lost love will again be found, although it's purchased by the pound.
Hi, Doc.
Hi, Sam. How have you been?
Well, I've been driving a truck all day. I need something for, pain and itch.
Pain and itch? What do you mean, pain and itch?
You know what pain and itch.
Oh, you mean hemorrhoids. You mean you got hemorrhoids, Sam? Hey, Sheila, this guy's been scratching his hemorrhoids all day. Boy, am I glad I didn't take your hand. Well, here, Sam, try Preparation Z. It has the ingredient 9 out of 10 actors prescribe when they're impersonating doctors on radio commercials.
Preparation Z?
Yes, it has the ingredient 9 out of 10 sheep herders use on lonely summer nights.
Thanks. I'll try it right away.
The next day...
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Doc.
So, how's the old patoot?
Great. That Preparation Z really worked. But it sure tastes terrible.
And now, a regular feature of this program, Ask the Dean. Here with today's important advice for tomorrow's important adult is University of Wisconsin Dean of Jocks, Paula Ginsberg.
Hello. Kathy T., a freshman, writes, Dear Dean, what kind of people will I meet at the university? Well, Kathy, Madison is one of the great cosmopolitan centers of Wisconsin, attracting students from all over and from all walks of life, from Racine dairy farmers to Cuba City corn farmers, from Green Bay alfalfa farmers to Beloit corn farmers. You'll meet people who are smarter than you and people who are much smarter than you, people with short hair and shorter hair still, people who will make fun of your clothes and the way you talk, people who will degrade you sexually and give you warts, people who are better looking than you and people who are much better looking than you, people who will ruin your stereo and stick you with a 2-year apartment lease. But remember, Kathy, that everyone that you meet at the UW, no matter how much they dislike you, is an individual. With the exception, of course, of computer science students, all of whom lack any sense of humor, wear food-splattered paisley sports shirts with those plastic pen things in the pocket, black chino pants with cuffs 3 inches too short, and simulated leather lace-up FBI shoes which they bought from an ad in Popular Mechanics. Anyway, good luck, young lady, at the U.
Students earn up to $94 a month by donating one or several of your vital organs at the Organ Center, 725 North Lake Street. For kidneys, we pay $23 each. For a spleen, $37. Your liver is worth $55. And for your heart, you receive $147. Your organs are in great demand. You probably can't get a job in Madison even if you have a degree in quantum mechanics. So why delay? Sell your organs today. We pay top dollar for what only you can provide. The Organ Center, 725 North Lake Street. And now this.
Nina,
Menasha,
Lodi,
Boscoville,
Pagana,
New Berlin,
Wauwatosa,
Oshkosh,
Lagash, Burley,
Rising Sun,
La Crosse,
Cuba City,
Ladysmith,
Deerfield,
Cartyville,
Dickeyville,
Poughkeepsie,
Fond du Lac,
Prairie du Chien.
Wherever it happens, around the corner or around the block, the WORT news team is there.
Good evening, and welcome to the Midday News Report. I'm Dick Feathermouth.
And I'm Paula Dulwit.
And that's dramatic music. Earlier today, two Madison West High School students, Alan Kamen and Bruce Gellerman, were arrested by the Madison Metro Narcotics Squad and charged with possession of pictures of marijuana. The street value of the drugs in the pictures was estimated by Madison police officer Freddie Fullerbrush to be worth close to $2.5 million. Also seized was a picture of an unidentified white powder and a picture of a gun. The picture of the powder has been sent to Photomat. And now for a report, let's go to our celebrity sniffer, Grinnin' Barrett in Hollywood.
Dick, Bing Crosby and Steve McQueen got a beautiful present for Christmas. Natalie Wood. The 42-year-old raven-haired beauty drowned off Catalina Island in California last month. And already people out here are astonished at the amazing similarities between her death and the death of President John F. Kennedy. Consider this. Both Jack Kennedy and Miss Wood liked water sports. Both had dark, wavy hair. Kennedy was shot in the head. Natalie Wood bumped her head. Natalie Wood made movies, and President Kennedy liked to watch them. And how about this? Both Kennedy and Wood were wearing lacy negligees when they died. We'll keep you posted. That's Hollywood.
I just want to thank everybody for tuning in today. This has been a public affair, and we've had an hour's worth of comedy today, and it's been a lot of fun for us, and we got to get going. Oh, hold it, but there's a phone call. Hold on now. Hello there.
Hello? Hello, is this Leon Vargian? Yes, it is. Yeah, I just wanted you to know that I was listening to every minute of the show, and I wanted to tell you it was the most vile, obnoxious, disgusting drivel I've ever heard. Who is responsible?
Hey, listen, buddy, I didn't have anything to do with it, you know. The people that you heard were Al Kamen, Phil DeCroke, Michaela Majoon, Kathy Albrecht, Don Allen, and Tom Drake.
Okay, here we are, back on the air. That was such a scattershot thing, I wasn't sure. And during that, a couple of people walked in. One was Ann B. herself, who just happened to be driving by. And we're really glad to see her, Ann B., the first host of Universal Soul Explosion. Also, someone walked in to increase his pledge. We are in the middle of a mini winter fund drive. We're having one again. We did do this a few years ago. We want to thank Axel Juncker, hope I pronounced that right, for walking in. And actually, he's pledging because he enjoyed hearing Frank Zappa last night. Not necessarily this broadcast, but we want to thank him very much. We are in the middle of a little midwinter mini fund drive right now, and we have a great premium right here to give away. We have 4 pairs of tickets to the Sotavento concert tomorrow night at the Wisconsin Union Theater, starting at 8 p.m. And at the $40 level, if you pledge that amount, you can get a pair of tickets, and you just need to come down here and pay your pledge and pick up your ticket. So that sounds like a really great pledge. And Dave or Danielle, would you like to mention any other things that people can get for pledging to WORT?
You can, of course, pledge any amount that you're able to pledge and willing to pledge. At the $50 level, you get a great 20th anniversary T-shirt. We just picked ours up today. At the $40 level, you get the plastic travel mug, the 20th anniversary version. And at the $35 level is our famous ceramic Cup of Wort mug.
So why don't you think about pledging to WORT and help to keep community radio on the air and celebrate our 20 years of music and public affairs. The number to call is 256-2001. It's also the number to call if there are any of you old-timers out there who have been listening all through these years and you might want to call in and maybe reminisce about your favorite moments on WORT. I guess we've got another Platinum Minute coming up, Brad. He says yes. Punch those buttons, Brad.
Hello, Madison and WRT listeners. It's Paul Mamelka talking to you from San Antonio, Texas, where I've been in self-exile since about 1982. I lived in Madison from 76 to 82 and spent most of that time working at WORT at the news department primarily and doing music and other kinds of programming. Learned a lot in the meantime, met a lot of people, many of whom I've kept up with, but there's plenty I haven't, and anybody who's out there I haven't kept up with, it's nice to say hi and glad to hear the station's doing well after 20 years. Has it been that long? Either way, I hope it's a good celebration for the 20th, and hope to be talking to people about that time coming and maybe send some tapes along for you to listen to. Anyway, have a good one, and we'll hope to hear you on a nationwide satellite hookup real soon now down here in San Antonio.
Well, I think a lot of our best memories lies in the humor that WORT's provided over the years. So continuing in that vein, the WORT Newsroom aired this hilarious parody of public radio as an April Fool's joke. A number of NPR stations carried it. The local station did not. Here's an excerpt from Small Things Considered.
Good evening. From Factual Public Radio in Washington, I'm Stanford Plunger.
And I'm Susan Standard. On Small Things Considered.
If you stretched all the automobiles in America from end to end, some idiot would pull out and try to pass all of them.
That's Dr. Herman Tower, who says you can save money by performing surgery in your own home with kitchen utensils.
Also tonight, clean water spotted on the Ohio River.
A meteor destroys West Germany.
Harsh words for pimento loaf.
Honduras becomes the 51st state of the Union.
Stop hamming up the broadcast.
I'll get you for this.
On Small Things Considered.
First, Ken Raspberry has this evening's news.
Peace broke out again today in the Middle East, with the story correspondent Ron Dahl in Beirut.
Peace broke out in Lebanon for the fourth time this week, and similar outbreaks of peace were reported in Syria and Iran. Sources here claim that these outbursts of peace were not isolated incidents, but the result of a widespread conspiracy between Marxists and the extreme right-wing phalangist forces. This is Ronald Dahl in Beirut.
The outbreak of peace in Lebanon is just the latest in a series of peace flare-ups around the globe. Cambodia, the Philippines, Afghanistan, and Uganda have all suffered sporadic incidents of relative calm. Panamanian officials, unhappy with the 3-year-old Panama Canal Treaty signed with the United States, are demanding the return of millions of cubic yards of dirt that were dug up to create the canal. Hot pastrami was placed on the endangered species list today by the Interior Department. The hot pastrami, which has become an increasing rarity in the last few years, is traditionally hunted by men in white aprons. They apparently lure the unsuspecting pastrami with rye bread, spicy mustard, coleslaw, and a dill pickle. In economic news, the Consumer Price Index shot through the roof this week, then did a pirouette, a little shimmy, and finished in a kick line with the Rockettes. Chief White House economist Murray Wiedengarten called the performance dazzling, though a trifle risque. The stock market today finished on the downside, but we tickled it under the chin and it perked right up. I'm Ken Raspberry in Washington.
A mistranslation of a welcoming speech given by President Ronald Reagan for Jordan's King Hussein caused a great deal of embarrassment at the White House today. Here's FBR's Kooky Roberts with more on the story.
The incident resembled the notorious 1978 speech in Poland, in which former President Jimmy Carter's admiration of the Polish people was translated to imply that he carnally lusted after the Polish citizens. In today's speech, President Reagan praised Jordan's King Hussein as a man we all admire. His courage and love for freedom are an example to all. In the translation to Arabic, however, the king was told, "Your golden skin makes my goat's milk ferment. I would trade 20 camels to be alone with you on an oasis, my desert flower." King Hussein, who stood rigidly at attention during the speech, made no outward sign of surprise. However, he later canceled a private meeting with the president in the Oval Office, claiming jet lag. This is Kooky Roberts for Factual Public Radio.
It's called America's Pastime, the grand old game. But if the Office of Economic Opportunity has its way, America's Pastime may become a thing of the past.
It's the damnedest, most stupid thing I ever heard of in my life.
That's the reaction of Baltimore Oriole coach Biff Brockhouse to a plan first proposed during the Carter administration, that a number of the 9 positions in a baseball lineup be set aside for minorities, women, and economically disadvantaged persons. Players will fill out questionnaires detailing their playing statistics, and those deemed in need will be given extra swings. In addition, teams from economically depressed areas such as Cleveland and Detroit will be given home run credits and a bigger ball. Office of Economic Opportunity Undersecretary Orville Pence explains.
If we give them equality in baseball, maybe they won't want equality in housing and education.
Coach Brockhouse disagrees with the program.
It's the idea of an idiot.
Undersecretary Pence.
Who are you calling an idiot?
You moron.
I'll show you who's a moron.
Well, you know...
Gentlemen.
What do you want?
And for this evening, that's Small Things Considered. The people who manufactured tonight's news from thin air included Al Kamen, Don Allen, Michaela Majun, Leon Bargin, Bruce Gellerman, Paul Mamelka, Terry Fitzpatrick, and Abby Hill.
In Washington, I'm Susan Standard.
And I'm Stanford Plunger. Good evening for Small Things Considered.
This is FPR, Factual Public Radio.
And we're back. We're reminiscing about 20 years of radio here at WORT, and we're bringing our show to a close. We'd like to thank everyone who sent us tapes. John Oliger, Paul Mamelka, Judith Strasser, Terry Fitzpatrick, John Lindquist, April Hoffman, J.D. Lossinger, James Rem, Chuck France, Bob Israel, and the guy who stayed home December 1st to tape our first broadcast, Richard Mahler. And thank you for putting us in your ears for 20 years. Thanks also to George Quinn for producing and assembling this whole program.
Right, and I want to thank Dave and Daniel Devereaux Weber, two of our founders, for coming down today. This has been Bonnie Kalmbach, sort of hosting this potpourri of clips on WORT. And as I understand, Rockin' John McDonald tomorrow night at 6 o'clock will have more tapes of his older shows. But I would like to remind you that we are in the middle of a short midwinter pledge drive. And if you'd like to help keep WORT on the air and you didn't have a chance to pledge in our fall fund drive, please think about giving us a call right now, 256-2001. We cannot stay on the air without our listener sponsors. We have a special pledge at the $40 level, a special premium, and we have 4 pairs of tickets to the Soda Vento concert tomorrow night at the Wisconsin Union Theater at 8 p.m. And if you make a pledge, just come on down to the station and you will get your tickets.
We have another pledge from Anonymous, and Anonymous appreciates our public affairs programs and lots of work, boots of work, books of work.
I think we should do a lot more silly stuff, too. Well, I mean,
she appreciates the roots of WORT.
Oh, maybe not lots of more.
That's us.
Thank you.
And also, we have a few more pledge premiums I can mention. At the $50 level, there's our 20th anniversary T-shirt, especially designed and commissioned for this 20th anniversary. At the $40 level, our 20th anniversary plastic travel mug, and at $35, our famous ceramic Cup of Wort coffee mug. Tonight at 8 o'clock, there's going to be a special live music show, the Reptile Palace Orchestra, will be playing right here live in the studio to celebrate our 20th anniversary. And y'all think about coming down here and joining us for the fun. Coming up next is Mel and Floyd. They are live in the studio. Beware. Live. They're usually on tape, and they're waving at us right now.
WORT would like to thank our listener sponsors and CP Systems, located conveniently on Madison's near west side at 222 North Midvale Boulevard. CP Systems offers customized computer programming for your home or business, as well as networking services. Call 233-8554.
On December 1st at 8 p.m. in 1975, WORT transmitted its first signal ever. We want to celebrate 20 years of community radio in Madison, so we invite you to the station this Friday, December 1st at 8 p.m. to watch the Reptile Palace Orchestra play live in the studio. It'll be the grand finale of the Celebrate WORT Mini-Thon. Join us at 118 South Bedford Street or tune in to 89.9 FM. That's this Friday, December 1st at 8 p.m.
This is the Insurgent Radio Kiosk featuring today's action calendar.
In today's commentary, Frank Emdek of the School for Workers, UW Extension, speaks on benefits of public sector for working people.
The School for Workers, University of Wisconsin Extension, held a conference, Challenges to the Public Sector. We believe the assault on the public sector is the culmination of many long-term trends in the society. It is also part of a specific attack on the standards of living of working people. As a result of reducing the service sector, one result of reducing the service sector is often the transferring of public wealth to private ownership and profit. The demands to privatize and downsize are not simply the work of mean-spirited public officials. Many working people have also voted to lower taxes. The tax burden appears onerous, partially as a consequence of falling real wages. Lowering taxes is, after all, the easiest way